I was watching on YouTube today, you going on Letterman. Well, I don't know.
YouTube's fun, man.
Yeah. It was.
You know what I'm listening to now, a lot, Tommy? I'm listening to audio tapes of Lyndon Johnson.
Really? Okay. Well, now I understand why that. I believe that you actually do watch this website now.
yeah.
Really? What do you mean? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
He put in the system, that brought Nixon down,
He put in the tape system.
Yeah.
Okay.
And and his are way more entertaining than Nixon's.
So he put it in. That's kind of interesting. That sounds like kind of what you build a system to record. He did that obviously, so he was very aware that it was there.
Yeah.
So
like
he was
you.
sort of almost doing a
he
radio
was like
show.
He did what you do.
He was Rupert Pupkin. Lyndon Johnson was
Exactly.
Rupert. So what are you?
So the funny ones
okay.
were sometimes they're really funny. Just like the Nixon ones, the funniest ones are when there's all these Nixon tapes that you can listen to in the Library of Congress that have nothing to do with Watergate. They're way the fuck funnier. Like it's just Nixon talking about his wife and shit. And like one time his in-laws are coming, he's like, "I think I'll go stay at Blair House. I don't like that lady with her cooking." And you're like, "Oh, it's weird. It's the president."
How many hours of these tapes have you listened
I've listened to a lot of them, but the Johnson ones are the funniest. So, anyways, you probably didn't know this. I never fucking knew this. And the guy from the New York Times may or may not have. Anyway, fucking Sam. He's checking his watch, going, "What's The Simpsons made so far?" Anyways, doing a little Rickles.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what was I talking about?
The Lyndon Johnson tapes.
Yeah. So this I didn't know this. Lyndon Johnson, he's wins his election, right? He's way ahead in the polls, like a week before the elections come. And his chief of staff, they have a party, because they're so happy, because next week they're going to be president again for 4 more years. So they have a big party at the White House, and his chief of staff goes across the street to a YMCA and blows a dude.
Wait a minute.
So the next day...
I gotta take my jacket off here. This is ridiculous. What happened here?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Say that again.
Okay, so Lyndon Johnson, right?
Yeah.
He's going to win.
Yeah.
He knows he's going to win. He's way ahead in the polls, as long as nothing crazy happens, right? So he goes, "Hey, let's have a little party, a week left, We're going to win easily unless some crazy thing happens, And so they're having the party and everything. And
but how did anyone find out about the
chief of
dude
staff
getting blown?
Because the chief of staff, well, listen, if you go into a Y and blow a guy,
right, but
you never know.
But it just came out. Did this actually come out in the press?
Yeah, like they had a sting operation.
And is this on the tapes? Is this on the tapes?
It was funny because it was in the old days, so the press couldn't say that, So they had to say it in language that the audience didn't even kind of understand. They go like he was caught in a somewhat compromising situation in a young man's Christians association, and people, old farmers, would go, "Well, wonder what happened there." So they wouldn't come. So I think that helped them, but the conversations with Lyndon Johnson are hilarious because he goes, he's just talking to his friends, and it's this longtime guy that he didn't know was gay, and he's like, "My golly, I could never have figured that for Bob. I've known Bob 30 years, and he goes, I'd quicker say I was a fruit than him."
Really? On the tape?
On the tape, yeah.
Where did you get the tape? Where did you? Lyndon Johnson said that. Where did you get the tapes?
And then he goes, and then the funniest thing is he phones J. Edgar Hoover, who he knows is gay, right? But he's like real powerful and everything, right?
J. Edgar Hoover was gay.
Yeah, like he was a transvestite and he'd have dudes over. And
is this true or?
Yeah, no, that's fairly well documented.
I know
I'm
it
not
was
outing him.
I know
I know Perez Hilton over here.
I know people.
No, this is fairly.
Yeah.
He's well documented.
Yeah.
So Lyndon Johnson knew for sure he was gay, but he was scared of him because he was so powerful. So he just like needles him, and he's like, so he's talking to him and he goes, "I can't believe old Bob's one of them fellers," They didn't even have a word for it and stuff. And so J. Edgar Hoover goes, "Well, sir, that's," he goes, "I have to ask a rather tough question here, but now when Bob was involved in this, was he the more or less sort of, a participant, or was he more or less the feller that, instigated the thing. You know?
He's asking
Yeah.
if he's a catcher or
Yes, I don't know.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. What have you got me? Why are we talking?
Gross, you're saying that. So the guy goes, so then J. Edgar Hoover goes, well, I wouldn't, well, Mr. President, he goes, I'm sorry to tell you he was the instigator, you know, and he goes, oh, good God, he goes, how do you spot a feller like that, Edgar? You know? So then J. Edgar Hoover goes, well, I wouldn't know, sir. He goes, oh, come on now, Edgar. He goes, if there was anybody that could spot a feller like that, it'd be you. Why, you're the head of the FBI. And so,
This isn't really what's on the tape.
true.
Is that really on the
That's
tape?
really on the tape. And J. Edgar Hoover's kind of mad. He's like, anyway, all right. Yeah, you got to hear it. It's the fun.
Really? And where
I'll
did
bring
you-
it in. I know you love broadcasting.
Yeah, where did you get the tapes?
I read a book that were the history of the tape, and then I got the audio version of the book, and the audio version was the tapes themselves.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know about it.
Wow, that's funny.